Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the live stream of Telling Beyond Words. My name is Lim Jing Jie, and I'm a voice student studying here at the Conservatory.
I am Priscilla Fong. I'm also a voice student at the Conservatory. In fact, JJ is junior. Well, we are thrilled tonight to be hosting this live stream. This evening, we celebrate the art of storytelling through music with a specially curated multimedia program. Our storyline from tonight tackles the ideas of life, death, and objective reality.
Tonight's stories are drawn from the rich narratives of Janáček, Schoenberg, and Stravinsky, and will be performed by students and faculty members of the Conservatory.
Well, tonight's program is conceptualized and created by the Empty Blue Sky Productions alongside YST Conservatory of Music. We begin tonight's program with Janáček's Piano Sonata From the Street, performed by first-year master student Lin Xiangning.
This first story is one of tragedy and political outrage, expressing Janáček's solidarity for fighters of Czech rights.
Following this piece, we move on to our next story, which begins in sorrow and grief, but ends off in great joy.
The composer of this piece is none other than Arnold Schoenberg. Our storyteller here, however, is the poet Richard Demel, whose gripping poem Verklärte Nacht inspired the composition of this piece.
Well, in this poem, we follow the conversation between a man and a woman. Now, the conversation they are going to have will not be an easy one. It will be one that involves heartache, betrayal, and pain, but ending off with forgiveness and acceptance.
And lastly, our final work for tonight is Igor Stravinsky's Petrushka.
The story of Petrushka brings together a circus, a crowd of colorful characters, love, jealousy, murder, revenge, political intrigue, and a ghostly apparition.
This ballet is full of beautiful melodies and great drama, performed by the YST Conservatory Orchestra under the baton of Professor Jason Lai.
Well, you're definitely in for a treat tonight with all these unique stories told through music.
Don't forget to stay with us during the intermission, where Priscilla and I will be interviewing some of the performers, including pianist Lin Xiangning, violinist Yuying, and our conductor, Professor Jason Lai.
Well, JJ, I hear the music signaling the start of the concert, so sit back, enjoy, and we'll see you in a bit.
What a splendid performance thus far. We hope you have enjoyed it as much as we did.
Well, in the next 15 minutes, we have a chance to speak to some of tonight's lovely performers.
You know, Pris, this is the segment that I'm actually looking forward to the most, just because we get to know more about the performers and how they connect with their piece.
For sure, so am I.
Yep. Our first interviewee of this evening is the principal conductor of the YST Conservatory Orchestra, Professor Jason Lai. Without further ado, let's welcome him on set.
Prof. Lai, please.
Hi guys.
Hello.
How are you? But you're doing really well. I saw your telecast earlier on, and actually these two are very fine singers first and foremost, but they're also great presenters. So do listen to them if you can.
We try our best. Well, no, tonight's concert is there's a lot of emphasis on the multimedia aspect of it.
There is.
How is tonight's program connected thematically, and what are these multimedia effects about?
So there are so many stories going on tonight. So the first story was actually a response to something that actually happened in real life. The second is a response to a poem. And the third one is based around a drama, is a ballet. And it's about being at a fair, and then a magician turns up with 3 puppets. And these 3 puppets feel a little bit sorry for themselves, especially Petrushka, the person named in the title. And he likes the ballerina, but the ballerina likes them more. So the Moor and the Petrushka have a bit of a battle. So you could say this is a bit of oppression, a bit about aggression, it's actually an allegory for the Russian peasantry at the time and how they suffered at that time. So there's a lot of multi-layers going on. And we have the multimedia tonight that we have the story of Schoenberg, his wife, and the painter Richard Gerstle to connect everything together. So it should be a very, very interesting multi-layered evening.
Wow. What's more interesting is that you have faculty members and alumni performing alongside the students.
Yes.
How is that different for you as a conductor?
Well, they're going to grade everyone as we go along. No, I was joking.
I'm glad I'm not in there.
They're going to grade me as well. No, it's just so nice to have the students and their teachers beside them supporting them. And I have to say they feel supported. And I have to say, Petrushka is really difficult. But they're doing a great job. And to have the faculty play alongside them in the piece just gives everything a special atmosphere. And of course, you've just heard the Verkleidung Act, and all the faculty were playing there, and it's a beautiful piece, and they did so well, and it feels like we're all one family. Yeah.
You know, just as a last question before you go, we would like to know what are some of your favorite parts of Petrushka? You know, because you talked about how there are so many different facades, so many different layers to it. Is there like a specific part of the piece that you particularly enjoy the most?
So many to choose from, JJ. But I have to say, the opening is amazing. You get launched into this feeling of being at this exciting fair. So much is happening. You go into one area and there's an organ grinder playing away. You go in another area, there are people dancing. And he has this kaleidoscopic mind and this brilliant way of orchestrating. So you really feel that you're actually in the fair. So I think the beginning is really wonderful for me. Yeah.
Oh. Really excited to hear the piece now.
Well, so am I.
Well, best of luck for the performance later.
Great. I better go and study.
Well, thank you so much, Prof. Lai. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next interviewee of this evening is pianist Lin Xiangning, who's a current first-year postgraduate student pursuing, oh my God, so many different words. Pursuing her master's degree in piano performance.
Without further ado, it is our pleasure to welcome Lin Xiangning onto the set.
Hello, Xiangning. Congratulations on such a wonderful performance.
Thank you.
How do you feel about your performance?
It felt very cathartic in many ways. I think having this piece like brew in me for so long and just sitting alone in practice room and all that and finally sharing it. And it's such a emotionally charged piece.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah.
You know, today we're all about telling stories, and
Yeah.
this story that you tell is a particularly emotionally heavy and really charged piece. So would you like to tell us, how do you seek to convey this emotion in the piece, and what does it mean to you?
I think initially I felt a little bit afraid because the subject matter of this piece is so specific. It's something that happened in the composer's hometown in Czech, and it's about political strife, and those things feel really remote actually, because I can't really connect to that specific subject matter. And the way the composer composed was also very heavily influenced by the Czech language, like the way the language flows.
Yeah.
And I speak no Czech, so do we. But I think at the end of it, the more I spent time with the piece, the core emotions I think are anguish, grief, and a sense of resignation, which I think I felt before at different times in my life. So I just tapped into that and just told the story from there.
I'm sure all these emotions are things that we feel at a certain point of our lives as well, you know? And I think it is magical, the amount of work you put into it, and the performance that came out of it was absolutely marvelous.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just as a last question, you know, you were talking about how, you know, Czech is it's a language that we don't speak, obviously.
Yeah.
And there are certain topics in the field of the piece that we might not necessarily be as familiar with.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges which you faced while preparing for this work?
So it's very similar to what I said just now about just how to phrase it. Because if it's influenced by Czech, I did go watch a few YouTube videos of people speaking in Czech, and
What was it like?
so I learned that often the onset of the phrase is quite rough.
Yes.
So with a lot of like Asian languages, I feel like it's more nuanced throughout, but they have a lot of I hope I'm not like misinterpreting this, but yeah, they have very abrupt beginnings,
Yeah.
which I could tell in the piece, and therefore I made that connection. And but also the piece itself it's not just this kind of gut-punching grief that it's not like the beginning of the second movement is so still and sublime, which makes you feel like, where is the grief in this? It's called the death, but it sounds like heavenly almost, but tainted with a bit of, you know, so stringing all those things together was really tough.
Well, that's some really beautiful analysis and some really nice words which you've shared with us today. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, and
Thank you.
congratulations once again. All the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Xiangning.
much.
Thank you.
Our last interviewee of this evening is violinist and YST faculty member Yuying, who has just performed Arnold Schoenberg's Verklärte Nacht. Without further ado, let's welcome him as well.
Yuying, please. Hello.
Hello.
Congrats on the performance. How do you feel after just getting off stage?
I'm actually still breathless. it's an emotional journey. It's not just emotional, but it's very physical as well. I mean, speak for all of us. It's not an easy piece to just go on stage and feel comfortable. You have to feel uncomfortable. Emotionally and physically. But it's all worth it.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming right here, right after leaving
I know,
stage.
I'm still
Well, maybe you could talk us through some of your favorite portions of the piece.
my God, it's hard to pick.
Yeah.
Because you have to embrace all emotions. There's immense sense of guilt. There's immense sense of yearning and longing. Like if you know the story behind the piece.
Yeah.
It's about a couple. The female longing to be a mother.
Yeah.
Actually bears a child, but is not her lover's child.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that very night, both of them. She has so much guilt. She confesses, and then she didn't even hope for forgiveness. But in the end, the man, with such a big heart, forgives her and embraces the child that is not his.
Wow, that's beautiful.
So it is emotional for everybody to and Schoenberg's writing. I mean, for a 25-year-old to write such emotional, complex, such thick texture through the 5 stanzas of the poem, according to it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even the poet, Richard Damo, after hearing the second stanza of the music, he told Schoenberg that he could not remember his poem anymore. He was just engrossed in the music so much. So he really did a great job.
Wow, that's so powerful.
I hope we did the piece justice.
Man, but yes, you were performing on stage with quite a few faculty members. What was the experience like leading up to today?
It's a roller coaster ride.
That's all we can say.
Well, because quite a few of them, they are SSO musicians, and they have a full program this week. In fact, they just performed last night, and so this week we were struggling with finding the time to put together, and with that limited of time, there's so much to discuss. There's so much to fight for. There's so much to express. All coming with different opinion and such. So we just have to get the work done and have that unified journey. So, but it's been so satisfactory.
Well, I'm really bummed, but I think we might have to end this interview here because the second half of the concert is just about to begin.
Looking forward.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so
and congrats
much.
again. Thank you so much.
Well, what a wonderful night of stories and interpretations, and just hearing how everyone brings about the music in different ways.
Yeah, I've learned a lot.
Yep, certainly.
And in fact, it has been our greatest pleasures being your host for tonight's live stream.
That's right. We're so happy we got to talk to so many of the soloists, Xiangning, Yuying, and our conductor, Professor Jason Lai, whom you will see conduct the next piece, Igor Stravinsky's Petrushka.
Well, but for now, sit back, enjoy, and we hope to see you again.
Bye.